Hey guys, welcome back to my Geekdom. I'm Brianna, and I'm here to do a review and recap of 911's Season 9, Episode 2, Spiraling. I think I really love deep diving into the 911 universe. I hope my love for the show and appreciation for everyone who works on it comes through, because this is a staple for me, and I appreciate everything they do to keep us entertained, sans Bobby's death. But other than that, opening up the episode, they are doing interviews with our macronauts, which is what Trip Hauser is calling his supposed 5 everyday heroes that he is sending into space. We naturally have Athena, who has no idea why the hell she is there, except for she promised to say yes to the next thing that came her way. Hen, naturally, who saved Trip's life, and this is his reward, and Karen made sure that she went, even though Karen herself could not go. Next is Trisha, who is Trip's fiance and wanted to be on the Real Housewives trip that they did, but they couldn't because she is just a fiance. Next, there is Kern, who is a former astronaut from Apollo 18, a scrubbed mission, so he never got to go to space and has instead been a high school football teacher for the past 50 years. And Parker, who is a tech bro on the 30 Under 30 to watch. After completing their interviews, it hops to dinner between Henren and Madney's families. They're at Karen and Hen's house. They're talking with the kids and just discussing how exciting it is for this Real Heroes trip. This triggers Karen a bit because none of these people, with the exception of Athena and Hen, and we'll give it to Kern as a former astronaut, are in her book Real Heroes, specifically Trisha, the character of Trisha that we'll meet later. So she's salty, like it's coming through that her dream isn't going to happen, and she goes into the kitchen to make coffee, and Maddie goes to help her so that they can really discuss what's going on. And what the issue is that Karen is upset about, it's not jealousy of Hen going to space because she encouraged her. It's jealousy that when they experience the moment of looking down on the earth, she won't be beside Hen. They can't share that moment, that intimacy. Their marriage has come such a long way, especially since season 1, and everything they've gone through with doing foster care and adopting Mara. So she's just sad that she doesn't get to be there with her wife. I think we can all kind of respect and understand how that would be upsetting, especially when this is what you've dreamt about your whole life. So they flash over to Henry and May, and they are at Henry's job at the coffee shop, guessing we might be seeing more of that. Henry is so angry. May is suggesting that Athena agreed because she wants to feel alive, and I wrote down specifically, because this scene, what the writers did was really well done, what the actors did that kind of hurt, and one's trying to understand their parent and one is scared. So May goes, she wants to feel alive. And Harry's response is, she's not the one who died. And May responds with, she lost her husband. And Harry crosses a line when he says, it's not the first time. You think she would be used to it. It is 100% a teenager who's hurting response. The fact that Athena's divorce from Michael was already insanely hard on her. She lost her first love, her fiance. He was killed. And now she's lost Bobby. Harry is hurting that is clear, and we can all respect and understand that. But this moment, oof, that one hurts. And May calls him out on how mean it was. And his response is he dropped out of high school. He's 18. He made a choice the same way Michael and his husband made a choice to move to another country to help other people's kids. In the same way Bobby's made a choice when he chose to save Chimney and the rest of the team, resulting in his death. And now Athena has made a choice to go to space, except that her choice isn't helping others the way that Michael leaving and Bobby's death were about helping others. So Harry is clearly speaking from a place of fear and anger, because what if something goes wrong and they lose their mom the way that they have lost their stepfather, and the way he's clearly feeling, even though they mentioned in the last episode they're still having pancake breakfast with Michael on Saturday mornings. Like that, the connection of being close is gone with the space by being in another country. Actually, I think maybe they moved back to Florida, because when Harry came back last season, it was because he was getting in trouble at school. So maybe I missed something. Maybe I'm misremembering something. But yeah, that is where he's coming from. He's talking about this unnecessary risk that his mom is taking. And May is trying to be the supportive big sister. Skip over to Hen and Athena, and they are having drinks and shots. It's called the flight deck. They are preparing for the nerve-wracking adventure of going into space. And in this drunken state, Hen calls Athena a jinx, because anytime she travels on something that, or in something that is not a car, something bad happens, such as, I don't know, a cruise ship flipping over, the airplane getting taken down by bumblebees and having to land on the freeway. Yeah, so they are joking around, and this is one of those moments where maybe those jokes are hitting a little too close to home. But luckily, Athena is a little too gone to really take offense. Flash now to the morning of the launch, and we've got Trip, Dawn, and I think now the guy's name is Joshua. Still didn't fully catch it, but they are going over the prep for the day, specifically in regards to social media, the setup of cameras at the homes and workplaces of the everyday heroes, and going over how Trip is coming across to society. Is this improving his image the way that this whole thing is meant to? But they are interrupted by a tech named Cody, who informs Trip about a geomagnetic storm that's knocking out satellites. There is a 43.7% chance that this is going to cause irreparable damage and danger to the lives of the macronauts, and he is telling Trip specifically to cancel the flight, to abort the mission, and Trip refuses. Now, again, this whole episode, I think, is going, like, it just belongs to Tracy Toms and Mark Consuelos. Tracy, in her portrayal of Karen and everything that she is doing from that lunch or dinner at the table to when the episode ends, and how she really is going to be coming through as that hero, and Mark Consuelos as Trip Hauser, with just how much he sucks, how much of a narcissist, how much, like, he's just the worst. He's why people don't like billionaires. And if that's the kind of person that you admire, ooh, call a therapist, because you really need it. So we've got the interview with family and friends before the countdown begins, and you get to the firehouse, and you have Chimney, Eddie, Ravi are all talking about Hen. And the moment that I love the most is when they switched over to talking about Athena. They had Buck do it. Now, if you have found me across any of the platforms, I am no longer on Twitter, but you can find me on Blue Sky, Instagram. If you found any of those at Brianna Hasty, then you have probably seen at least once me mention how, yes, Bobby adopted Buck as agreed on by the entire fandom, but 110% Athena gave birth to Buck. She is that boy's mother. They have the same personality. You cannot convince me otherwise. So the fact that he is there talking about how amazing Athena is and how she has been a sergeant with the police department, everything she does, it makes me tear because he loves that woman. They lost Bobby together. I would actually really like to see a little bit more of that connection if they have Athena's character become ready to talk about her emotions instead of just burying them way down deep, which I respect. Is it healthy? No. But I respect it and I see where she is coming from. So then we switch over. We've got the launch going off. It's called the Inara 2, the capsule that they're in heading to space. Everybody is either at the fire station. The team at the call center is watching. A weird one for me. So, right, they're showing Sue and Maddie watching, but later in the episode we see Linda. Yay, Linda. It's just weird that why wasn't she in the room? She is part of this group that is a named character at the call center that we're familiar with. Josh is still missing. Side note, kind of like wondering what if they actually follow through on the idea of Josh and Buck at least going out on a date. Since back in... Oh no! That's why I shouldn't play with things, but I will always be playing with something. Yeah, back in before, I can't remember what season it was, but before the taking of the call center, they were having game nights. Yeah, they were having game night with Maddie and Chimney. My brain was digging so hard for that info. And it was Maddie, Chimney, Buck, Josh, and Josh made the comment, if I didn't know better, I'd think you were setting us up. So, like, what if kind of see where that went? That would just be interesting to me. Anyways, back on track. Athena is grumpy. They're going into space. We have the launch is successful. But as the launch is occurring, Karen gets a phone call. So she steps away from the rest of the team at the firehouse to take the call because it's coming from work. They are calling to report to her about the geomagnetic storm. And his name, I want to say, it started with an A, but her co-worker tells her, why is this idiot continuing with the launch? Why didn't they cancel it? So they are scared, but the launch is successful, and Karen kind of has to hold on to that until there is any proof otherwise. We get into the capsule, we're in space, everybody is looking out and enjoying the amazing sight of staring down at the Earth. And Hen and Athena have the moment that Karen was jealous of and wanted to be a part of, and that is looking out the window at the aurora borealis, at the Earth, and truly admiring how gorgeous it is. They have that moment, their friendship, everything they've come to, and then things start to go haywire because Kern from the opposite side notices that something is coming their way. He tells everyone to brace for impact. It is a debris field because the satellites have been hit by that geomagnetic storm. The entire satellite system, which is called Skyloop, haha, I see you, Skynet. Let's just casually throw in a little Terminator lore there for you, are now crashing. It hits the capsule, comms are lost, and the capsule goes spiraling off, and it is heading higher and higher out of where it was supposed to be and off of course. Now everybody back on Earth has lost connection. Trip, his satellite system going down, he tells them to, I think I just skipped ahead, but he's telling people not to worry, and he yells at Cody that it was only supposed to be a 10% chance, and Cody's like, no, you asshole, I said 43.7% and told you to abort. You made the choice not to. Denny turns to Karen back at the fire station when the connection is lost, but she is gone on that phone. And can you imagine that kind of fear as, gosh, I guess he's supposed to be like 13, 14 now, when your firefighter mom has gone to space, connection is gone, you turn to your legitimate rocket scientist mom to ask what's wrong, but she's disappeared. That moment for Denny and Mara as children had to be terrifying. I can't imagine anything else. Now, Chimney follows Karen and gets the info about what happened with the geomagnetic storm and that all of these satellites from the Skyloop are starting to fail. As it is spinning, the Inara is spinning wildly out of control. We flip back up there where Parker, the tech bro, they all turn to him as a tech bro looking for a solution, and his solution, unplug it and plug it back in. Just like with any good piece of technology, when it fails, unplug it, plug it back in. Heads up, IT people, if we're ever talking and I call because something has failed, it's because I've already unplugged it, plugged it back in, unplugged it again, plugged it back in, and it's still not working. Clearly, I am not tech proficient. Give me a different solution. Anyways, so Kern has, they're trying to figure out how to get to the center console, because there's a panel that Parker thinks if they get that panel off, what they need to unplug is going to be inside of it. They don't have any screwdrivers there in space, but Kern says, hey, I have my I just got distracted by a fly. He has a coin from Apollo 18 that he made himself because none of them had been made when a flight gets canceled. So they get off that panel and Parker unplugs it. He gets it plugged back in. It takes a second. He's not able to do it on his first try. The force from the spinning of the capsule is too strong. He gets thrown back and hits his back against the chair that he had been on. So he fights the centrifugal force and he gets up there again and he's able to do it successfully. Back down on Earth, they had to jump back and forth so much through here. God bless the actual people who do all of the editing because it's done really well. Trip is getting phone calls from the family members. He's refusing to talk to Karen and he doesn't know who Karen is, and they're like, she's the wife of the firefighter. He goes, well, just tell her the same thing we're telling everyone else. And Dawn replies with, you can't spin this. This is her life. So he says, oh, well, if she works for this other company, we're suing each other. Tell her we can't talk to her because of all the lawsuits. boom, they say to pull all the cameras back so that if something goes wrong, there are no cameramen around while they break the news to the family members. So over at the firehouse, the cameramen are leaving, and we switch back and we see Harry looking down, and Buck asks what's going on, and Harry tells him that he cannot do another funeral. It is one quick glimpse, and Buck is there again. Harry is Bobby's adoptive son. I mean, they didn't go through the process on the show, but that is his stepson. We know that Bobby adopted Buck as well. So these two they watch The Bachelor together on Monday nights. These are brothers. They lost the same person. They both love Athena and Hen. And I just love that Buck is the person in this moment that they have talking with Harry. Then go back up. They've stopped it. Parker got the little console off. He did his tech thing. Except now that the spiraling has stopped, so does Parker's heart. That hit he took causes him to have a term I can't pronounce or remember, and I didn't even bother writing it down because I will never do so with medical terms for just straight up butchering them. His heart has stopped. Hen needs to find a way to... She can't do anything. She doesn't have his vitals. She's not sure how to proceed because they're in space. There's no gravity. And Trisha offers up this crazy high-tech, not Apple Watch, but it's able to give all of Parker's vitals to help Hen out. And I do love the mention that this watch also tracks vibes. That the vibes in the capsule are very bad, because duh. And I really related to the character of Trisha in that moment. It felt I see you. I get when vibes are off. I understand what you're saying. So Hen is able to figure out what his vitals are. She knows what's going on. She has to perform CPR, but there is no gravity, and now they have a new challenge. How can they do this in space? Back on Earth, Karen's learned that the capsule has stopped spinning and it's gone higher. And it's clear that since it has gone higher, she has an idea. But in that moment, Harry interrupts and asks Karen what's going on. So Karen sits Harry down with Denny and Mara, and she explains to the entire firehouse, because even the background firefighters, we don't know. Everybody is there for this moment. And Karen explaining exactly what's going on, and that she has an idea. But she has to leave so that she can go help Hen and Athena. And Mara wants to go too, but May offers to watch Denny and Mara. And in this moment, Karen goes off. Alarms start sounding in the firehouse. The entire team is being put on tactical because the sky is falling, which is what we had seen in the teaser trailer for these opening episodes. And it is the entire Skyloop satellite system crashing down to Earth. I believe they say Los Angeles, Ohio, and I think it was Brazil. So Buck invites Harry in this moment of stress to go on a ride along with them. And he tells Chimney when Harry gets into the rig that Harry is freaking out, and he has every right to be freaking out. So it's better for Harry to do that in the rig with them where they can help and watch him versus him staying behind with May and frightening Denny and Mara in this situation. Chimney is against the whole idea, and there's one of two reasons why. The first one is, as his position as captain right now, he's not going to want in a very dangerous situation to bring a civilian out, especially when they're so young that it could be dangerous. Number 2, which I like more and think is more suiting for Chimney in this situation, is he is scared that if something happens to Harry, he's completely failed Bobby. He already feels that guilt for Bobby choosing to save his life instead of his own. And if Harry gets hurt in this situation, like, I don't think Chimney is in a place... I want to know in that 6 months, has Chimney spoken to the kids? Did he speak to Harry? Did he speak to May? Like, we saw him and Athena rebond, but we don't know what the relationship with the kids is like. What does that look like? And I think a lot of the aggression that Chimney is showing towards the idea of Harry coming on this ride along in such a dangerous situation is more about the danger than the idea of Harry being there at all. Because Eddie chimes in and goes, Chris was only 8 when we took him, and Buck chimes in with, and Harry is 18, so Chimney gives in. Flipping all the pages, that's what I do. Back up to the Inara 2. They have found a way to strap Parker down to a seat. Hen is upside down, pressing on his chest, feet braced against the ceiling, and saves this kid's life the way that Hen does. Because as they say in the interview, if you are in danger, there is nobody you want coming to your rescue more than you want Hen to be there. I think that when they do the report with the news report about Skyloop failing, did anyone else feel like that was B film from the Transformers movies, especially when you have the 3 people and the one chick has a camera and they're like pointing up at the sky? I could have sworn that that was from Transformers, possibly number 2, I can't remember, but that was the vibe that I got. So the Skyloop satellites are falling all around the globe. They're warning people to stay inside, but FYI, your devices are probably going to fail too, especially if they depend on Trip Hauser's technology at all. That is when we hop back to the call center where we see Linda. She and Maddie and all the others are fielding calls. My favorite is the one that Maddie has about the person who can't get into their car because they don't have a key. And there's a spare, but it's in the house, and they don't have a physical key for that either. It's all tech. But Karen and her guy from work, his name, here it is, Parshan, I think. Fingers crossed that I both remembered and or said it right. They show up because what they need is an old school satellite phone. Think Jurassic Park 3. That is the satellite phone that they need. So what they have is one from 1998, and I died a little on the inside there. So Karen explains it all, that what they need to do now that the Inara 2 has reached a higher level in space, it's outside of the debris field of the Skyloop satellites that are falling, and is now reached the Meridian satellites, which are old school satellites put up by the government. They are all still out there in space, and they are going to use the satellite phone to reach those satellites to reach them on the capsule. First of all, just my biggest problem with that situation: why would any of them have taken their phone? And then upon hearing it out loud, instead of just in my head, Hen did specifically say she was going to take photographs. So yes, actually, no, they explained 100% why she had her phone in space. Never mind. I take it back. It was all in the show. Just pay attention, guys. Okay, So they need line of sight to make all of these satellite phones work, to make everything connect. If it lines up properly, they are going to get 12 to 15 minutes of communication. After that time period, it'll be another hour before the capsule comes back around for them to do it. But someone needs to go up on the roof and shout out to Terry. I don't think that we've seen Terry since the last call center burnt down. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I love Terry. He is one of my favorite minor characters who's just there doing his tech stuff, being supportive, and I love him for that. So poor Terry has to go out when they have specifically told people. I love what, because he says the line, didn't they tell us to stay inside? And all I could think was, aren't you the they? Wouldn't you guys be the ones making announcements and sending out emergency text messages about the danger of being outside? So yeah, that was cute. Hop back out to the rig because we are bouncing around like no one's business in this 45 minutes. The first thing they come across is a self-driving car going around in circles. It is not stopping. Ravi points out that the way to stop this self-driving car might be, as he says it, to paint it into a literal corner. They are designed to follow all of the rules of the road. So if they create two white double lines, then the car won't be able to cross it, and hopefully they can box it in and stop it. Harry has hopped off of the rig to Chimney's charging and suggests that they use the sand that they keep on the engine. Somebody else might wonder in this moment, how does he know that there's sand on the engine? But my heart swelled because I know that back in season 2, they did the tour of the firehouse where Bobby explained to Harry's class what was going on. I believe it was season 2. It might have been season 3. So they went over everything, and I am sure that in that moment, that is why Harry has that information. If not from dinner table talk and all the time he spends with firefighters, it makes perfect sense for Harry to know that there is sand on the rig. And it works. They are able to split up and draw these double lines. They stop the car from spinning out. The dude gets out, yells 0 stars. He's not going to recommend this to anyone. Boom, hit in the head with falling space debris. Out he goes. And off to the hospital and the next round of danger. Now we are back on the roof where Terry is... poor man, now we're scared. Now, and this is where I am very mad at Ryan Murphy, because this is what he wanted. Terry is on the roof. We just saw some rando get hit in the head with debris, lodged pieces of satellite in his head. And you've got Terry on the roof in danger now? You jerk. I would have been worried for him anyway. But now people die. So Maddie calls Trip, who has no idea who she is, even though, 2 weeks ago she helped get him out of a whale. And I loved, this is that moment that I really love from Mark Consuelos when he says, they called 911? Of course they called 911. How did they call 911? Yeah, of course Athena and Hen would call 911. Like, no shit, that's where their family is. Who else is gonna help them? So he still does not know who Karen is at this time, and she replies with, I'm the woman who's going to save your ass. Like, just that whole moment is great. And again, we flip back. Now they are taking the guy to the ER, except this ER has been freaking out because it is full of Trip Hauser tech, including an entirely automated operating room that now has a killer robot in it. And an unconscious doctor named Dr. Lieberman. The killer robot's name is Ross, and there is an additional doctor who's the one who is letting the team know about all the dangers and things that are going on. So the doctor, whose name I don't even know if they mention, he opens the door because he wants to go help his friend Dr. Lieberman. Eddie saves him because Ross the robot tries to kill him. Why? What do they need? Why does this robot have a laser? Why does it have a laser? Chimney tells Ravi and Buck to take care of the robot. He and Eddie are going to get inside with this other doctor, and they're going to help Dr. Lieberman, but things in the operating room are still freaking out. So Ravi and Buck are able to shut off the robot as the others are helping the injured doctor, except for the emergency power comes back on. Chimney, Eddie, Dr. Lieberman, Ravi, they're all out. They get him out safely, but Buck and the other doctor are trapped inside when for some reason Ross the robot has a scalpel that he throws and almost kills poor baby Buck. We can't have this. It's not okay. So now they are trapped in there. The other doctor's able to get out. Buck distracts the robot so that guy can go, and he is now trapped with this killer robot. So Chimney calls Harry, who's still on the rig. Luckily he didn't get off, he listened, and tells Harry to bring an axe and a sledgehammer. Harry gets in, they get the sledgehammer in, and Buck takes out Ross the robot to everybody's, cheers. Yay! Now they have to get back out, get to the rig, and just as my brain goes, wait, everybody's running out to go do helpful things, Harry's not wearing a helmet. Second I think it, Buck goes, Harry! And gives Harry the helmet. I loved it. Absolutely beautiful. Harry came to the rescue twice in this episode, literally helping to save Buck in that moment. And then the first thought outside is Buck is thinking about Harry's safety, both as the hero and firefighter that Buck is. But again, like I said at the beginning, that little bit of what I like to see as brotherly love. That is his little brother in their big old crazy family. We all know that Buck loves children, that literally in another world he would have become a teacher. So yeah, that was a great moment. I'm glad that they gave it to Buck and not to anybody else. Now, we are going to flashback again. Hen's phone is ringing and it says 911. Karen is on the line and she has a plan. She explains the geomagnetic storm and she dumbs it down and goes, think space hurricane. Cool, something we can wrap our minds around. And Hen looks right at Athena and goes, I can't take you anywhere. Athena's face just pure, don't be rude. How dare you? How dare you? I can go somewhere, maybe, except for all evidence says that she can't. So it was great. Well done, Angela Bassett, just always being amazing. Maddie connects them over to Trip, who straight up lies about what happened and still doesn't know who anybody on the capsule is. Can't recognize a single voice. This guy is the worst. Trip starts talking to Parker and he tells Parker, hey, there's a console in the middle. Yeah, we already got the they already got it opened up. And, oh, what's the answer? Unplug this piece, plug it back in. They are trying to get the thrusters working again because the thrusters have shut off. but it does not work. So they are going to redirect power from one thing back to the thrusters. Unplug, unplug, switch the plug, plug it back in, to the shock of nobody. So they redirect the power. It works. He says, like he's in a goddamn horror film, "You're basically home free." Boom. Fire from all of the vents. Luckily, of course, there's a fire suppression system. Trisha finds it on the side of her seat. She hits the red button. We switch back down to Earth, and you hear over the phone that it's not working, that there's fire everywhere, and the last thing you hear before fade out is Athena. The whole damn thing is on fire. I truly feel that the way they have done this it makes sense in the world and day and age that we live in, for there to be these macronauts. We have seen it. So this is not that crazy of a stretch for them to be in space. Naturally, everything else that is occurring, I mean, it still sounds insane, but everything that is occurring, it makes sense in the world we live in. It also is doubling down as to why I don't trust AI. As they say in the memes, John Carter, Sarah Connor, they didn't go through the shit they went through for us to trust robots like this. They just didn't. Yes, we depend on technology, but the more AI takes over, the more automated everything becomes, the less we are connected to each other, and the more danger that puts people in. Specifically, as an example, let's look at the character of Trip Hauser in this situation. He doesn't know who any of these people are. He cares about his tech. He cares about his image. He might care about Trisha. He might care about his fiance up there. But in reality, he only cares about how this whole thing makes him look. There's a line that Kern says in the show about how when he was training for Apollo 18, there was a console. And to never underestimate the power of a good toggle. It is a moment of saying, have tech, but have safety. Do not become dependent on it. Have a human being who knows what they're doing, who knows how to control the things, how to flip the right switch. It is what? Chance? Maybe not. Chance is the best word for that situation, but to have a tech bro like Parker up there is lucky. On one hand, back at the beginning at the idea of everyday heroes, to me, I'm thinking this guy is not an everyday hero. Everyday hero means Athena and Hen. You should have more first responders up there. This happens to be a moment where a tech bro actually steps up. So, technology, not completely evil, but AI and not having a human being to depend on is a danger across the board in all society. Again, shout outs to both Tracy Toms and Mark Consuelos for really owning these episodes and owning these characters. They have done a fantastic job. The layer of emotion that we get in the character of Karen, from being excited for her wife, being jealous, being worried, and coming in to save the goddamn day like the hero that she is too, absolutely fantastic. I'm definitely liking this opening way more than the cruise ship disaster. It is clearly a nothing will ever be the tsunami, but the way that all of this does reflect back on the loss of Bobby and how characters, like now that Harry is back and having a larger role, is it going to affect the choices he's made beyond just dropping out of high school? Is he going to want to become a firefighter now? Now that he's in the field, he is seeing and understanding by being with the rest of the 118 why Bobby would make the choice to put Chimney before himself. We've seen consistency in the character of Harry from when he was kidnapped. His anger and the blame he puts on his mother and father for not being there to protect him, for taking so long to rescue him. That anger is part of his character. It's been there before. When he comes back from being with Michael and his other stepdad, like, we see anger there. So his anger in response to the idea of losing Athena over such a stupid thing, in his opinion, makes a ton of sense. They are very much exploring his feelings, and they're doing it really well. Buck coming in quietly, being that support system. This is a moment where we see that his therapy is really, it's doing its job. He has grown a lot. Again, I didn't like episode 1 and kind of that toxic feeling, his control and jealousy over Eddie and Hen. Was not a fan of that, but his support and the love that he's showing to Harry and really thinking about what is the right thing to do in this situation, bring him on the rig. It's better both for Harry and to make sure that the other kids aren't as stressed out, that May can focus on Denny and Mara, and that Denny and Mara don't have to be more adult in that situation. They have an adult to depend on, and especially someone like May, who was working in the call center, who I have a whole nother theory. Like, I want her to go into crisis management, to become like a hostage negotiator. That's what I want for May. She has that strength that she's gotten from Athena. She has this understanding and compassion that is a little less Athena, because we all know, like, Athena is very much propaganda. We still love her, but she is the definition of propaganda, and May has always stood up against that, even taking that job at the call center to understand more about her mom, to try and protect her mother after the attack. So that growth we've seen May go through. We saw her go through that arc. Seeing her step up and offering to stay with the kids is more of that compassion. I really want to see what they're going to do with May and Harry in this season when Athena comes back down. So overall, the insane idea of 911 starting with a trip to space and the sky falling is coming together very well. Now, a quick a quick review, personal feelings for 911 Nashville. I watched episodes 1 and 2, and I'm not deep diving the way I am with the core show, but they are approaching the father-son relationship differently. The character of Blue being this kid that Chris O'Donnell's son Ryan had no idea existed, developing that relationship. It's fucking, I cannot even. A stripper becomes a cadet, becomes their probie because of special circumstances, and he happens to be a licensed lifeguard. No. No. There is no realism there. Do not, under any circumstances, come at me with the idea of realism. It's gone. No. The first thing they are dealing with is a twister. I didn't hate it, okay? I enjoyed it. I did not expect, in any circumstances, for Leanne Rimes' character of Dixie to be the standout. She stole both of those episodes, even though she's in like one scene of each. That woman has a screw loose. She has got a plot. She's got a plan. All the history that they explain between Dawn and Blythe, who are Chris O'Donnell and Kate Capshaw's characters, their marriage, the way that in a moment of when they were separated, Dixie came in and slept with Dawn and became pregnant with Blue. Like, there's a whole daytime soap opera going on there. Again, not against it. Not what we're used to. Not against it. It's totally different. But Leanne Rimes as Dixie, just amazing. And they did get me in the end. Like, I was hurt when Dawn didn't acknowledge Blue after that last save of the guy who got pinned to the water tower. That actor emotes amazing, especially with all of that storm going around. Very well done. But by having in episode 2 your male lead having Chris O'Donnell get struck by lightning, you jerks knew what you were doing. You knew exactly how to get this girl who had Robin on her cake when she was 7 years old. That was his face. How dare you? I will be tuning in for more. Again, we'll see how it goes, just like with 911 Lone Star. But well done, you crafty bastards. Alright, that is it for me. Thank you for visiting my Geekdom today for our 911 specials. Tune in again for my next episode, 1.3, when I will do my regular roundup. So, thank you so much. See you next time, guys.